Damn, this is crazy. So, as in yesterday's video, last time on yesterday's video, we were gonna go over this post and talk about how the Faulconer score from the English release, the Funimation dub for Dragon Ball Z, was changing in my mind. I have a different opinion on it, and I was gonna go over why that is. I was gonna really dissect this Reddit post. I was gonna start doing some research and try to tackle like what is this all hearsay? What's going on with the Faulconer score? But then come to find out, nothing. I didn't find anything other than the exact information that I was looking for. So let's fucking continue with this investigation. Okay, that is what we're doing. Who is Bruce Falconer? Who composed the English soundtrack for Dragon Ball Z? Find out right the now. So yeah, my investigation started with this Reddit post. And I guess I was taking the sort of like the millennial or the really the Zoomer approach to investigating these days. And so as you see, I just popped this shit straight into ChatGPT. A little pro tip for you: if you actually screenshot articles, you don't even have to read or copy paste text anymore. Or if the article is really formatted poorly, you don't have to worry about like trying to copy around images. All you have to do is screenshot something, and as long as it's like readable text, you can just pop that into ChatGPT and ChatGPT will read that for you. So pop that in, and then we got some main points there. Yeah, let's go over this.
Meet Bruce. Now, you see, our boy Bruce here had a problem because Bruce really liked Dragon Ball Z and he really liked to make music, but he wasn't able to do both at the same time and keep his cool. You see, the story begins with our boy Bruce here owning his own production studio somewhere in Dallas, Texas, where Funimation is also based.
It's called Cake Mix Recording Studio.
And when Funimation got the licensing to a then up and coming anime called Dragon Ball Z that was kind of a hit in Japan, they were overjoyed to localize it and turn it into their own Western phenomenon. So they were reaching out in the Dallas area, little studio at the time, not really a super big, well-known Western phenomenon dubbing company as they are today, looking for talent that was cheap and locally available. And that's when they ran across our boy Bruce here. You see, Funimation approached Bruce when they were actually already about 60 episodes into the original airing of Dragon Ball Z. Funimation approached Bruce after they had been working with a previous company, I believe.
Saban Entertainment is the pronunciation.
And they were with them producing Dragon Ball Z, localizing it in the United States. Then they started dubbing it around episode 68 of the English release here in the United States in the late 90s and early 2000s. They liked our boy Bruce's work so much that they decided to keep him around for the entire runtime of the English premiere of DBZ, which led all the way up until
2003.
At which point, Bruce Falconer Productions' tenure with Funimation was done. Their contract had ended. They had produced enough music for the entirety of Z and one, I believe it was the History of Trunks, one TV special for Funimation. They parted ways amicably at the time. Our boy Bruce here was expecting a call back from Funimation in respect to GT, the well-known sequel
that was beginning its localization process then.
Little did he know, Funimation themselves had no intentions of calling our boy Bruce back, and that's where his problems really started to ramp up. You see, our boy Bruce was feeling a type of way about not getting that call back, so much so that he decided to go litigious on their ass, and he decided to sue them in court where people sue people. And so our boy Bruce here, filed a lawsuit against Funimation. That's our Faulconer Productions against Funimation Studios right there. As a result of that lawsuit, I believe Bruce did get a payout, did get a bit of a settlement.
Although actually I believe the settlement was more so over royalties and the rights to Bruce Falconer's work more so than any large financial sum of money. In air quotes, Bruce Falconer's work, because as we'll see soon, maybe we really shouldn't call it his work.
But also pretty much put the nail in the coffin for his ability to work with them ever again. As you can imagine, ever since this lawsuit, and actually since before this lawsuit, as we established, Faulconer Productions did not work with Funimation Studios on GT, and that was kind of maybe what spurred this lawsuit on to begin with. But since that whole fiasco, basically since the end of Z, Faulconer Productions and Funimation Studios have had very little contact professionally outside of court agreements. Our boy Bruce's problems don't quite end there, and then I guess our problems with Bruce, depending on how you look at it, don't quite end there, because you see, some years later now, Bruce's work is widely renowned. It's very prominently stamped on any understanding of the English dub that it's got the Falconer score, right? It's the Falconer dub or the Falconer soundtrack that accompanies the English release of Dragon Ball Z is legendary. Everybody knows about it. A lot of people herald it. A lot of people have think of it in high regard and have a very high opinion of it. However, in the years that have now transpired since his work, his tenure with Funimation Studios, and the age of the internet, our year to currently 2025, there has been an online presence from his cohorts, his colleagues, the people that worked with him. The one, Scott Morgan, Julius Dobos, and Mike Smith. All three of them, which are the main collaborators actually on the English release, all of Faulconer Productions music, and you can actually go check a list out. I'm going to link it. We're probably looking at it right now. This entire list is every song composed by Faulconer Productions and released to Funimation Studios under that label. As you can see here, a staggering amount of the work is actually composed by Mike Smith, and then another staggering amount, another equally large amount has been produced by Julius Dobos and Scott Morgan collectively. A very small amount, I think about less than 10%,
less than 5%,
was produced by Bruce Falconer himself. Although he did make the lead song Rock the Dragon and the end of the episode anticipation for the next episode song that I used at the beginning of this video. So take that for what it's worth. Our boy Bruce definitely likes to make music, and he definitely likes Dragon Ball Z, but it's it's very likely the case that he's also gotten a bit of ego as a result of his ability to live out both of those passions in real life, and also feeling like maybe he hasn't gotten the recognition that he deserved from them. That has led him to taking a lot more credit for the English production, the English release, than he has deserved. He claimed in an interview that the Perfect Cell release was the Perfect Cell theme, the iconic dun 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 dun, was composed by him, when in fact it was not composed by him. It's an unfortunate and sad state of affairs to think of such a legendary and iconic track being marred with such grievances, work-related grievances no less, right? Such petty things.
And here Bruce is in an interview lying about a song that he didn't actually compose. Check this out.
And one of the favorite themes that you've ever composed was for the Cell theme, and a lot of the music that's composed there. When you were doing that whole saga, what was your approach? What was your direction that you were trying to take the music in that whole arc?
The storyline was about Cell, and he starts out in this imperfect form, and he evolves. And so his theme had to evolve. You may recall it. It starts with a very pure sounding theme with, and the melody was like almost a sine wave, which is a very pure, almost flute-like tone, but even purer than a flute because it's devoid of harmonics. And then so it just gradually evolved as Cell did.
I don't know. It all just kind of feels slimy to me.
I think from here on out, I will refer to the English production, the English soundtrack, as just that, right? The English soundtrack of DBZ. I'm not going to call it the Falconer score anymore. It feels a little wrong calling a piece of art that he did contribute to fairly, but to be fair to him, he did contribute. But to be fair to the rest of his composers, he contributed an unfair amount of work to call it his own. It doesn't feel right saying that something that it feels like the kid in class, right? That makes it very apparent to everybody how much he's helping, how much he's contributing, when in actuality, he's like just there to put his name on the assignment and then hand it in with you guys all at the end and act like he did things and like half-assedly explain something that he barely understands about the assignment. Not to say that our boy Bruce isn't passionate about music. And really, that's not an expert analogy, because I'm sure Bruce really does like music and I'm sure he's very passionate about it. But when it comes to the actual production that he made, the scores, it seems like he didn't really make a fair number of them. It seems like a lot of the iconic scores, like the SSJ3 power-up theme, the SSJ1 power-up theme, Cell theme, Frieza theme, some iconic legendary themes that you think of when you think of these characters. Gohan theme. Seems like a lot of these scores were not made by Bruce Falconer himself.
More so, I get the vibe that he was just the guy that had the tools and the wherewithal to gather the talent together, and that he did a little bit of composing in addition to the talent gathering and providing the resources. Which, to be clear, does matter. But does it matter enough to warrant you putting your name above everyone else and essentially having the Faulconer score? I think otherwise.
And so, as a result of that, I'd like to give credit where it's due. I'm just going to call it the English soundtrack from now on. And if I have to refer to it more specifically than that, I'll probably actually refer to the artists that made the songs by name. Yeah, I just can't see myself really calling it the Faulconer score anymore. But alas, that's been everything. Thanks for watching. And until next time, deuces.